Hello people, I'm Jaby KOAY, joined by ACHARA KIRK.
What's up?
We're looking at Decoupled, the official trailer with Madhavan and Surveen Chawla. This is from Netflix India. So if you have a Netflix India subscription, you can tune into this thing and get entertained, hopefully. It sounds like a divorce story.
Uh-oh, I know how you feel about divorce stories.
Decoupled is a story of a separating couple navigating through the crazy journey that is marriage. Watching Madhavan and Surveen Chawla bring to you the most heard yet unheard story yet. Decoupled releases on December 17th, only on Netflix.
No.
Ta-dum.
Ta-dum.
So yeah, get your Netflix subscription today. If you guys haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please do so and hit that bell icon, all notifications, and vote this up to let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. Here we go.
So what did you say this is for? I mean, who's really interested in listening to a separating couple talking about marriage?
Everyone.
Arya, did you even hear a word of what I said?
Yeah.
Then why couldn't you respond?
What do you want me to do?
Actually, yes.
I'm a man. We're not evolved enough to make fake sounds.
All I'm asking you is to show me that you heard me.
You know, somehow this sounds like marriage. So what did I miss?
Vicky, life is just so perfect in this moment to die in your arms tonight.
I don't like guys like him in the first place. You know, when I was his age, most of the girls I was interested in didn't even know that.
I know.
You know, I think the validity of marriage should be 10 years max. Men can never be happy in it.
Are you ready to lose her?
What do you mean, loser?
A young, hot guy with long, flowing hair having...
So I was just wondering about the ground rule. Like, can we see other people?
I see your point.
Oh.
Notes to self. Loneliness is not the scarcity of people. Loneliness is when hot people don't want to be with you.
I feel like I don't know my mama papa anymore.
They make sense only together, right?
Most marriages might be happier than couples remember.
Are you happy? I don't know.
People's lives are so small. It just takes a month of good marriage to know the whole story.
We had more than a month of good times.
Yeah. 8 years.
Matlab, actually you've fallen out of love with your husband, and yet you are going to stay in the same house under the same roof for the sake of the child. But that's called marriage.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, I guess the whole idea is to elicit conversation that is largely ignored and not had. It's largely just sort of swept under the rug, especially between couples that are struggling. You know, you run into these instances where you just sort of become accepting of this awkward, uncomfortable situation, and that becomes the norm, that becomes the comfortable, where you just don't deal with the problems.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of challenging old stereotypes, right? Because I don't know who the older woman was in the end. Like maybe she was like a mother or a mother-in-law
Yes,
or
sounded
like
like a
an
mother.
older relative or something like that. And I think...
Sounded like a mom.
Yeah, like an auntie. But I think the thing is, the traditional model is, oh, well, everyone's unhappy in their marriage. That's a marriage. It doesn't really matter. You stay together for the sake of the family, you stay together for the sake of the child or whatever. And it's not about your personal happiness. And I think in this day and age, we're challenging that more and more, you know? And so it's interesting to me that this is a movie that they're making, and actually maybe not so interesting because in the sense of, you know, more and more Indian cinema is pursuing stories that are new and different and challenging traditional ways of thinking, you know?
I think
like
it's interesting.
Well, it came out wrong, but what I'm saying, it is interesting, but not surprising.
I see.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like more and more these stories are coming out, and Indian cinema is, you know, just trying to tell different stories and challenging old ways of thinking.
Right.
Yeah, because divorce isn't really a thing that was happening so much, but I feel like it is now becoming more common, you know, like...
I don't know. I mean...
In India, at least.
I have no idea the statistics of marriage and divorce in India, but I do think that this is quite different from stuff we normally see in India regarding this, because, you know, over here, we have a lot of, I guess, emphasis on realism when it comes to relationships, which kind of frustrates me. It's like you get one of two extremes. either it's like amazing or it's just the worst thing ever and falling apart. And it's like there's usually no in between in American cinema. There's usually no like, oh, we're having a rough time and we get through it, or just some sort of realistic portrayal of things. Like I think the most realistic portrayal you generally will get of things, oddly enough, was from 90s sitcoms like Friends, because you have a TV show to go through these things. Like Ross and Rachel have ups and downs and ultimately end up together. Like that can happen, right? And so in a movie though, you have to have like a starting point and a trajectory. And it's very binary in that way. Marriage story, ends in divorce. You know, it's like they were starting together, then they end up leaving each other. Whereas in a TV show, like there can be ups and downs, and ultimately it works out. In the movie Brainstorm, I think I'm thinking of the right film with Christopher Walken. He's already divorced from his wife, and then they end up getting back together. That's not what the movie's about, but that happens over the course of the story.
It can happen, yeah.
And so what I'm getting at is, with this movie here, it feels like it's trying to explore a conversation that's difficult and often swept under the rug, because there are things you just sort of take for granted, especially in an Asian marriage. It's just like, no, you're together, and it's not good. It's not going to be happy. You're not supposed to be there for smiles and laughter. You're supposed to be there for the family, procreation, continuing your offspring, and that's it. Shut up and do your job. It's like, that's what it can sound like. And I do think that there's a happy medium. I think that Americans, I don't know, maybe I'm not giving us enough credit, but I think Americans sort of just throw in the towel way too quick.
Yeah.
They're not really considering like, well, you know, at some point that spark will wear off and die if that you don't continue to fan that flame. And you know, you try, and then it's like, oh, well, it's just gone. It's just gone. So we should just divorce. And I feel like a lot of Americans take this out when they're not really taking into consideration that this can happen with anybody. Any two people, like at some point, you will have had all the conversations, explored all the moves, you know, you've done all the things. It's like at some point, you know, you've explored it all. And if you're able to get past that, then you know that you've got, I don't know.
Well, I think relationships are a constant evolution, right? And even biologically, I don't think it is possible to continue to be in the honeymoon period for more than 2 years. Like the hormones just run out. The chemicals in your brain run out. And so, yeah, then things start kind of feeling maybe samey. The things that you thought were cute about someone are now annoying. The challenge is, how do you continue to grow as a person and as a couple, and how do you continue to find new ways to love your partner and to rediscover them anew each day?
I think the big difficult conversation around this topic, because like, okay, to finish my thought about Americans and marriage, it's that we have an out, right?
Yeah, divorce is so common here.
Exactly, and maybe that's true of just Western culture in general. Like it's just fine, you can get divorced, whatever.
It's not working out.
Lots of people get divorced.
Return it to the store.
It's so common that a casting director that I worked for had a divorce party, right? It's just like, whoa. That's crazy to me, but you know, that's
to each their own.
That's how normal it is. And so my whole thing is like, okay, is that necessarily the best option though? You know, I just don't know if that's always the best option. You got with this person for a reason. Maybe you try to work it out. And if you really gave it your best shot, like you truly tried to give it your best shot and it's still like, you know, not working, then I say, okay, fine, maybe go your separate ways. But like, it's especially worthwhile to give it your best shot if you've got a kid. Sure. You know, not that that's a reason to stay, because you're going to offload a lot of bullshit onto the kid if you two are just miserable.
I think there is like a fine line between, you know, have we tried every possible way, and is it just that we would both be better off not being with each other? I mean, you never know. If you try, you might be surprised, right? But regarding children, I also feel like if they see their parents stay in a miserable marriage, then that sets up the precedent of like, oh wow, that just shows me that I don't need to choose myself or my own happiness as an adult. You know, like that stuff can really affect a child too.
This can get really deep, but I think that's the point of this movie, is to elicit the kind of conversation we're having now, but like amongst yourselves, amongst and maybe also with your partner, in
a really cute and funny way. Like I thought that they kind of tread the ground there with a lot of humor, and it was really lighthearted and didn't feel heavy like it could.
I am cautiously optimistic because I got burned with Marriage Story. So, but yeah, I'll let me know if it's a happy ending. Thanks so much for hanging out. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon, all notifications, and vote this up to let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. I'm Jaby KOAY. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.